something like the one of my turning points in my life as a physician. One time I went inside the hospital room, and there is this end-stage leukemia patient, 5 years old. And then as I opened the room, and then what I saw is a 5-year-old boy that was many years ago undergoing chemotherapy, and he was crying and he was shouting, "Monsters!" And then, I already started that time. I already started my journey in the search for truth. But it was only at the beginning of the journey when I had that situation. And I was invited by a mother to go to that hospital room. I was no longer hospital based that time, but nevertheless, okay, I said, okay, I'll come, even if I cannot do anything in the telling them what to do inside the hospital because it's not allowed. So after maybe around an hour of conversation with the family, and with the background of that child, 5-year-old little boy, crying and shouting monsters, no more hair, vomiting. Then after that, almost an hour, I was sharing to them about plant-based food, etc., etc. And then I went down to my car at that time. It was already around 7 o'clock in the evening. I went down to my car, and as I turned on my car, I don't know what happened. I started crying. I really started crying that I couldn't explain. And I started asking myself very deep, very profound, very strong questions. Is what I saw there, is that what we call knowledge? Is what I saw there in that room, is that what we call civilization? But we were conditioned and we were programmed to do that. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. We were programmed to become drug pushers.
Amen.
We were programmed to treat the symptom. So I asked myself, and I was holding the steering wheel that night, and I was crying profusely because I have a little boy that time. And I was telling myself, I want to know the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And it was a difficult process because, I'm a medical doctor. You get ostracized talking about these things because I was an insider. And then along the way, I started imagining things. I started imagining things when I noticed that the arrogance of my mind is beginning to surrender. And I noticed that the genius of the heart is beginning to open. The problem is we spend so many years in medical school putting layer upon layer the arrogance of the mind. And we are ruled by knowledge. Knowledge is okay, but if it is no longer aligned with wisdom, then it can be destructive. And what I saw that day is destructive knowledge, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Even the hair is falling, the child is vomiting, and yet nobody is questioning it because it has blossomed into a big system. But as a practitioner, I've been face to face with the face of pain, with the face of suffering, and with the face of frustration every single day. And I told myself, we should do something. You cannot just be and be and be and not do anything about it. So we started working, we started writing books, we started giving seminars, we started giving retreats. It's something like we proceeded with a strong why without knowing all the how. That's why today we want to start a conversation because I'm beginning. I really feel it with my own heart and with my own mind that all of you guys here today are very intuitive people whom I believe you could help us in the how, and we could all work together. Because I've been feeling the past few days since I arrived here that the whole can never be fragmented. We started our journey in healthcare. But me and Doc Paul ended up in a path. Like we became more interested with food. Because for example, no matter what we do in health, if there's no more food, the soil is the external biochemistry of the body. So no matter what we do here, if there are no, permaculture is out there, then the internal biochemistry of the body will be the same, right?
Yes.
Great. So we are here to present to you, to share to you, and then we're gonna start a discussion because I had a beautiful conversation last night with three beautiful people named Jose. Or are you Jose?
Jose.
You were there.
Yeah.
Who else? Lindup and John. And we were talking about education because there's a big problem with our educational system. We are conditioned and programmed every single day, right? For example, for 10 years in medical school, I was conditioned to treat your symptom. And then I started joining the other side, because I had to explore for the benefit of my doubt, the other side, the so-called whatever, alternative medicine, natural medicine. And then eventually I also realized that it's still coming from the same consciousness. The consciousness of treating the symptom. It's just a different modality. So we're going through a journey, and again, we don't know all the how. We started with a powerful why, and at this point, me and Dr. Pao, we will present to you what we have been imagining, and this is not just an imagination. We started acting, we started doing things the past years, even though we don't know if it's working or not. It's something like fire, and then let's see if it works. But honestly, the past 3.5 years, it's beginning to work because people are beginning to understand. Because people are getting frustrated. People are getting frustrated. Now, let me widen your perspective. In 1891, there are only 7 diseases. Only 7. Pulmonary disorder, skin disorder, kidney disorder. Only 7 diseases in 1891. In 1891, para tayong may makina. In 1891, there are only 7 diseases, and there are only 12
Sipag.
and all those medicines are planned. Now it's 2016. How many years? Any mathematician here? From 1891 to 2016, how many years is the difference? 125 years. So in just a very short span of 125 years, no one can deny the truth. From 7 diseases, now, you know how many diseases today? Any guess? I will give a prize. A lifetime supply of coconut oil. That was a joke. Any guess? Now there are more than 10,000 legal registered diseases. I'll enumerate some. The common ones: hypertension, diabetes, heart attack, stroke. Let me enumerate some of the things you may not know. Systemic lupus erythematosus, Sjogren's syndrome, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura. It's longest one. Educational system is Latinized. Our medical educational system is Latinized. Latinized means we make it more complicated. The educational system made it more complicated so that you don't understand. And if you don't understand, your body is the target market. And we have continued to allow that, right? Now, don't get me wrong. We need drugs. For example, you have a gunshot wound, you have a stab wound, or a taxi bump into your knee. Don't go to the wellness center. You go to the emergency room. You're already bleeding. Go to the emergency room. You need drugs. It has its room. But studies have shown that diseases, there are more than 90, almost around 90% are chronic. Hypertension is chronic. Diabetes is chronic. Cancer is also chronic. So,
What does chronic mean?
chronic means you did not just get it today. It's something that accumulates
Developed
today.
through the
So
years.
again, just to widen our perspective, in 1891, 7 diseases. Now, more than 10,000 diseases. In 1891, there are only 12 medicines. Now, do you know how many patented drugs all over the planet? More than 561,000 patented medicines over the planet. Let me enumerate some, because my favorite subject in medical school is pharmacology. I should know what I'm talking about. Neoblat, calciblat, terablat, haloblat, losartan, basartan, pesartan, spartan, ivermectin, calcium, right? Am I right? There are many people who are taking maintenance medicine because of fear. Because we were trying to tell you, you have to take that drug for the rest of your life, because if you don't, right?
Yes.
And then people follow it out of fear. People are told, if you don't do chemo, and then the husband or the wife of the cancer patient will go home, look for plenty of money to afford the chemotherapy, and then the husband or the wife who will go home looking for plenty of money for the chemotherapy will die sooner than the patient. They will die of stress. Stress looking for more fun. So, my dear friends, we want to open a dialogue, because it seems you are all I really feel it in my heart that, as what Lindop said, the system is here right now. The system is here right now. We just have to, you look at this. You look at the image. It's ripples, right? And I'm beginning to feel, as soon as each and every one of us here will go out of this Maya Earth Village today, those ripples will become waves of change. Yes. Believe that?
Yes.
If we all work together,
Hallelujah.
those ripples will become waves of change. But those ripples, and each one of us, yes, each one of us can do something. I believe what Mother Teresa said, it is not how much you do, but how much love you put into the doing that matters. Me, whether I'm talking to one person or whether I'm giving a talk to 2,000 people, it doesn't make a difference anymore, for as long as there is love. Because if there is love, and it's proven already by quantum physics, the principle of non-locality. And whatever we're doing here, no matter how few we are, it has a reverberating effect millions of miles away beyond the speed of light. And that is what Sir Stephen, I've been listening to you earlier, sir, it's actually profoundly simple. Just a loving heart. And when we have a loving heart, the arrogance of the mind will surrender. The genius of the heart will open. And by the way, I'm not talking about the physical heart handled by the cardiologist. I'm talking about the spiritual heart, which is your unconscious mind, your conscience, and your spirit. So we would like to share to you this one, and Dr. Paul will talk about it. We'll talk about it. He's very familiar with this. Dr. Paul is a very good friend. We've been joining together. Wow, in the Philippines, when we go around and give talks under the self-empowerment movement, or we conduct dialogues or seminars, whatever, sometimes we are mistaken, sometimes when we are together, sometimes Dr. Pao is mistaken as a high school graduate. Sometimes I am also mistaken as a high school principal. So, it's your turn, sir. Okay. Talk about the paradigm shift.
Yeah, so, hello, I'm Doc Pao. You can call me Doc Pao. Well, first off, I'd like to... I'm nervous.
Ay, Doc Pao, kaya mo yan. Breathe, breathe. You can do this.
The first thing I would like to talk about
Breathe.
is how I got into it, okay? Because, thank you, John.
It's cocoa water.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, you can turn it. So, what happened was, yeah, I was